I was checking out at Publix when I heard a female voice coming from behind me and sounded like she was talking to me, making a comment about the good deal on the pork shoulder. So I turned around and saw that she was very much my type. So I struck up a conversation, just cool and casual, and the interaction went pretty well. But in about 3 seconds, I decided not to ask for her number, and I really don't even know why. But I've been thinking about that 3 seconds ever since. And I was happy with the conversation. The only thing I was unhappy with was the fact that I walked away without asking for a phone number, which is something that I'm generally not afraid to do, especially in a situation like that. But for whatever reason that day, I remember thinking as I walked away, I thought, nah. And most single guys have had some moments like that. And so today on Men's Midlife Clarity, we're talking about why that happens and how to stop it. We're going to be talking about meeting women in public, or as I like to call it, approaching women in the wild. And this is at the grocery store. This is at a brewery, at a restaurant. It's out in your normal daily activities. And I'll be honest with you, most guys are afraid of this. And I was the same way for a long time. I was not naturally good at walking up to a woman I didn't know. For most of my dating life in my younger days, back before I got married, I got my dates by being set up through friends, through social circles, friends groups at work. Really, the way I did it was through situations where I had a chance to be around a woman more than one time and, spend some time around them. And I really had to let my personality do the heavy lifting. I wasn't unattractive. I was in the best shape of my life during that time. I was in my 20s and now I'm 50. I didn't have the confidence that I have now. I hadn't learned all of those life lessons and been through all of that stuff, right? So I didn't have the confidence back then to do a whole lot of cold approaching. So that was not my main way of getting dates. Not that I never did it, but I just wasn't as comfortable with it back then. And that's true for a lot of men, even into their 30s, 40s, 50s. So if you hear the phrase approaching women in public and think, nope, not for me, that's completely normal. But here's the problem. If you want to get better at talking to women, meeting women, feeling like you can go out and flirt, date, and carrying yourself with confidence, at some point you have to begin to get reps in. You have to complete repetitions. There's no way around that. You can't think your way into confidence. You can't watch enough YouTube videos to gain confidence by osmosis. You can't research your way into it. At some point, you have to go out in the real world and put these theories into practice and get your reps in. And practice is the key word here. Because when you first start doing this, the goal is not to get a phone number, right? And this is the mindset you need to have. This will help you get over your fear of going out and approaching women. When you start doing this, your goal is not to get a phone number. It's not to get a date. It's not to prove that you're attractive. It's not to prove that you are confident. It's not to make every interaction try to lead to something or to go perfectly. The goal in the beginning is simply to get comfortable starting conversations with women you don't know. That's it. You're practicing a skill. And the way you make this easier is by detaching yourself and your feelings from the outcome. You're not going to walk up to her thinking, I need this to work. You're not desperate. You're just starting a conversation. If it goes somewhere, fantastic. But if it doesn't, that is equally fine. If she's interested in you, then go with it. That's great. If she's not, that is also fine. Because wherever you're starting from, you still got up and you went and made the approach. You put a rep under your belt, and that's what we're doing here. So you're not emotionally invested in the outcome because the outcome is not the point yet. Not yet. The repetition is the point. This is the homework. That's how you have to look at it. You're giving yourself reps. Let me give you a quick example from my own life. This was about 2 years ago. I was on my way to meet a woman for a first date. We had already rescheduled one time, and she had a valid reason, and she wanted to reschedule, so that wasn't a red flag. But I was on my way to meet her, and about 15 or 20 minutes before we were supposed to meet, she texted me to cancel, and I won't get into the reason. So I had a choice in that moment. When I first got the text, I thought, I'll just turn around. I can go home and get a 12-pack of Pilsner and just go, listen to some music or watch YouTube and feel sorry for myself on the couch. But I was at the point in my life where I was beginning to break out of that mindset and that limiting belief. And so I decided to go ahead and go to the place we were going anyway. We were heading to a local brewery on the outskirts of the greater Atlanta metro. And a friend of mine that I've known for literally 30 years, he was putting on a dueling piano show there that night. And so I decided to go ahead and head over to the show and just, see what shakes loose, right? And so I went and I walked in, and my buddy's playing the piano. He says hello, shouts me out over the microphone. I'm not anything special, but I've just known this guy for a long time. But when things like that do happen, take advantage of them, because what that is social proof. And, I walk in, I'm not famous. I'm not saying that, but anytime you can demonstrate or people see that you have friends, that you have friends, that's always a good thing, right? So then there was another group of friends. When he called me out, they start yelling. So I go over there, and it's like 5 or 6 people, men and women. So I go over there and sit with them to watch the show. And so as the night goes on, I notice a woman just kind of dancing around right next to where we were sitting. And I noticed she glanced over my way with the kind of half smile a couple of times. And I was dressed nice, and because I was going for a date, which is something you should be doing. So I just kind of white guy danced my way over to her and started talking. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing rehearsed, just normal stuff. And I see her friend mouthing to me as I look to the side, and she's mouthing to me and pointing to her friend and mouthing, she's single. So in other words, she's giving me the open door. And so if the friend is trying to usher you over to her buddy, it means that she approves of you. So that's a big green flag. So anyway, the point is that I end up talking to her, and I ended up getting her phone number. Didn't go anywhere because she wanted our first date to be to church, and that, that's just not where I'm at this juncture in my life. But the point is, I could have gone home and drank some beer and felt sorry for myself. Instead, I went out and I got a phone number. So the reason that this happened is because I did just go ahead and go through with the plans. I showed up with no agenda. I wasn't trying to perform. I wasn't outcome independent. I was there to have a good time. I had no expectations, and I was just there relaxed, being myself. And that's the whole point. That's how you have to be, because that's what builds attraction. If I had gone home and sat on the couch feeling sorry for myself, then none of that other stuff would have happened, And so if you normally wouldn't say anything to a woman at the grocery store, start by saying hello. What I mean by this is start where you are. So whatever level you're at currently, there is no minimum level for this. If you would never say hello to a strange woman in your life, then that's fine. Start where you are. If you're like me and you don't have a problem striking up a conversation with a woman, but sometimes you just kind of fall flat and maybe you chicken out at the last second and don't ask for the number, wherever you're at in this journey, that's where you start. So again, if you normally wouldn't say hello at all, or if you normally wouldn't even try to make contact, here's how to do that. Do not just stare at her and wait for her to look up at you. That does not work. What you have to do is, let's say she's standing behind you in the grocery checkout. You just kind of turn and act like you're looking around the store, and as you're looking by, you're watching her eyes. And if she looks up and meet your eyes, don't look away instantly. Just kind of give like a half smile, like a normal hello, fellow earth traveler, right? Just a friendly smile, and lock eyes with her, and then start turning your head before you start pulling your eyes away. This doesn't have to be complicated. What I mean is just pull your gaze away from her slowly and see if she holds your gaze. These are the ways you figure out if she's open to you saying hello, because the other thing is, the better you get at reading the open doors, right? Reading whether she's open to you approaching or saying hello, or she's giving you, stay away from me, leave me alone vibes. Then the better you get at knowing that up front, it just saves you from rejections. So do not just stare at her and wait for you to look up. But if she doesn't meet eyes, then maybe say something to the cashier, say something nice to the cashier, and then see, look out of the corner of your eye and see if she looks up, and then just kind of turn, pretend like you're grabbing something off the conveyor belt, and see if she meets your eyes. And if she gives you a cold, hard stare or looks away really quick, then if she kind of half smiles at you, then she's open to you probably saying something hello or saying something about, grocery prices, whatever. That's the point, is start wherever you are and just say hello or try to make eye contact. Or if you normally would go ahead and say hello, then try to start a conversation and see if you can start building a rapport. Or just make some off the hand comment. If she puts some cookies up there, oh, those are dangerous for me, I can't keep those in the house. Make it something very unassuming and very generic, and then see how she responds. Because believe me, if she doesn't want to talk to you, she's going to make it clear. You don't need any kind of perfect line. In fact, trying to come up with a perfect line usually makes you sound worse. What you say matters far less than how you say it, and especially how you carry yourself when you're around her and when you walk up and make your approach. Your tone matters, your body language matters, your energy matters, and your ability to read the room, especially, and read her cues. All of that matters a lot. It matters really more than what you say, unless you just say something that's so out in left field that she's just going to think you're a weirdo or a creep, right? So your ability to read the situation is paramount. Don't make it weird. Remember that women look at security and safety. They have very different considerations than you do. So don't ever corner a woman. Don't ever follow her. Don't ever approach her from behind. You want to approach and don't walk up on her fast. You always want to approach her from the front, or maybe, a little front right, a little front left. Don't approach her outside of her field of view. You want her to be able to see you coming towards her, and you want to walk towards her a little bit slowly. Don't be in a hurry. Don't rush, because she'll start to perceive you as a threat. Or if you walk up from behind her and put your hand on her shoulder, or even lean up and say something into her ear, her initial reaction is going to be fight or flight. She doesn't know you. She hears a man's voice say something. She doesn't know what your intentions are. If you walk at her from the front or the side, in any way that she can see you, then she can see your body language. She can see you're smiling. She can see how you're dressed. She can already begin to assess you and decide whether you're a threat. And if you're walking up casually, gently, not in a rush, you don't have a mean look on your face, she's going to be a whole lot more open to saying hello. So don't follow them. Don't corner them. Don't interrupt her if she's clearly busy, if she's in the middle of a conversation in a hurry, wearing headphones, clearly trying not to be bothered, or if she gives you any signal that she's uncomfortable, if she kind of pulls back from you, just walk away. Just say, sorry, have a nice day, whatever, or just turn and slowly walk away. Let it go. You leave politely. That is one of the most important things. I have to stress that anytime, even if she gives you, sometimes I see guys get butthurt even when they get a polite decline. Even if she tells you, piss off, asshole, you do not go to her level. You turn around. You are a modern man who can control and contain his emotions. You just simply, maybe give a little, oh, okay then. And you turn around and quietly walk off. You don't ever get aggressive. You don't ever get butthurt. Don't do any of that, because it will not get you any further in the situation. It will only make things worse. And any other women that might be around are going to see how you react. And let's just say that you walk up to them, say, hey, how's it going tonight? Or whatever. And she gives you some cold dismissal in front of everybody. And you just say something like, okay, then, well, I hope you have a great night. And you turn around and walk away. Listen, that is the kind of thing that will make another woman who's sitting in the restaurant or the bar take notice of you. Remember that approaching women is not about forcing interaction. It's about giving a respectful opening and being mature enough to accept whatever response you get. This is not pickup artistry. It has nothing to do with any of my channels. That I don't talk about pickup artistry. I don't talk about going out and trying to grab the one night stand. That's not what my channel is about, because, I'm 50 years old. That's not what I'm into. I'm into going out and finding dates. And then if I end up finding somebody I like, then maybe a relationship develops. This is not pickup artistry. This is not about putting on a persona or false bravado or pretending to be an alpha male. That is not what we're about on this channel. This is about men who are over 30 or anywhere in that range, really. If you're a mature 20-year-old dude, then you are more than welcome to learn all you want to learn in this channel, because this is all going to be from the perspective of older guys. But this is about building the ability to talk to people, especially women, but men too, to carry yourself well, to handle rejection and not
fall apart emotionally when interaction doesn't go your way. Because let me tell you something, whether you understand it or not, whether you believe it or not, a certain amount of stoicism in a man is what attracts women. A certain amount of the ability to have a stiff upper lip and keep your emotions inside of you. Now, I don't mean not sharing with a therapist or a brother, your family, whatever. I don't mean that, because you absolutely need to be doing that. But when you're out trying to attract women, you can't bitch and moan and whine and complain. You need to act like a man. Because that's now women may not know they want that, and they may not say they want that, but all of the research, don't take my word for it. Go out and look into it yourself. You have to have some level of masculinity or some level of other masculine traits to be attractive to a heterosexual woman. So, this is not pretending to be an alpha or fake bravado. Your mindset shows up in how you approach, how you carry yourself, how you talk to other people. If you walk up to a woman and you're already thinking, oh, Lord, she's going to embarrass me. She is way out of my league. She is going to reject me in front of everybody. This is going to be so awkward. I'm scared. I've never done this before. The more of those thoughts you have, and the longer you sit there and think those things, then the more effect they will have, and they will show up when you walk up and open your mouth to talk to that woman. If these are the thoughts you have in your head, you are going to fail, and you probably are going to look like a fool. You'll hesitate. You'll stumble over your words. You'll over-explain. You'll repeat yourself. You'll make the moment just a lot heavier and more awkward than it needs to be. And even if you delivered the line perfectly, she'll feel your energy. I'm telling you, I know for a fact that it exists. She feels your energy. And not because women are magical mind readers, but because people pick up on insecurity. Go look at two fighters, let's say in the ring, in a boxing match, and let's say that one of them has the strong head game and the psychological frame and the other one doesn't. That is so easy to see, even among two big, badass men who are about to knock the crap out of each other. You can still see who has the stronger mental frame. And women see that. They sense that when you walk up from a place of weakness, right? And I'm not talking about weakness in physical strength or how much money you have, any of that. I'm talking about your mental frame. So before you can begin to develop this skill, you have to work on this frame that you're operating from. You have to walk up like you belong there. Not arrogant, not aggressive, not cocky, just calm. Walk up like you are allowed to speak. You're used to speaking and people listening. Like you're allowed to say hello. Like it's not a federal crime to start a normal conversation with another adult human being, because it's not. And I don't love the phrase fake it till you make it, but there's a version of this idea that it just frames it a little differently, but I call it act as if. And it doesn't mean that you're faking anything. It means that if I want to learn to be this confident man who doesn't mind walking up to women, I can't just watch videos and read books to make that happen. I have to start practicing it, but I also have to come at it with the understanding and the mindset that I am able to do this. This is something that's possible for me. Just like I thought for years that it was not possible for me to lose weight. And as soon as I got rid of that belief and then actually started doing the things that are supposed to work, magically it started working. And so walking up to women or being willing to go up and talk to women works the same way. So act as if you are a man who can and does meet women. Act as if one woman's response does not determine your value, because your life continues either way. Your world will keep going on either way. And the guy that doesn't try never gets the date. If she smiles and talks to you, your life continues. If she ignores you completely, your life continues and the earth will spin. If she says she has a boyfriend, if she gives you her phone number, if she says something rude and nasty to you, it doesn't matter what the outcome is. The earth keeps spinning, your life will continue, and you're going to walk away from that experience better because of two things. One, you'll have one more repetition and you'll be that much more comfortable with doing the thing that you fear. And the other thing is, if you handle it with grace and maturity, and self-control, like what I said, you're going to turn and look away, and anybody who saw that experience is going to think more highly of you. So it's not a loss. You're still building skills and experience. And that is where real confidence comes from. once you experience that enough times, it's not sharp anymore. It doesn't hurt. It's just like, if you've ever had to take insulin, the first time you stick yourself, it hurts a little bit. A month later, you don't even think about it. What are you barking at? But that's where real confidence comes from. Going out, doing the thing, surviving it, learning from it, and realizing, okay, I can handle this. That is earned confidence. And earned confidence is different from the false bravado, the performance, right? Earned confidence comes from repetition and experience. And this also is connected to scarcity and abundance. A lot of men tolerate bad relationships, bad behavior, or situations that they really don't want because deep down they don't believe that they can get anybody else. And that scarcity mindset shows up everywhere. It shows up when you stay with someone that you know is wrong for you, or when you start over investing too early, you wear your heart on your sleeves, you're accepting breadcrumbs and hot and cold behavior, online or on text messages. And it certainly shows up when you approach women out in public. And if you think that this woman is your only shot at happiness, or only shot even at talking to somebody tonight or getting a phone number, whatever, however you're framing that, you're only going to act needy. You're going to put pressure on the interaction. You're going to care way too much about the outcome. And the irony is that you caring so much about how it turns out is the very thing that makes it turn out badly. I know it's counterintuitive, but believe me, if you can walk up to her and have a pretty good sense of, I really am not worried about what happens, and you're being polite and all of that, you will be so much more attractive. And if you can ever really internalize that and start to use that, you will be amazed at the difference. But if you know from experience that you can meet women, you can talk to women, you can create opportunities, then you can relax. And you stop treating every interaction like a life or death situation and needing every woman to validate you. That's the part nobody tells you because it sounds backwards. But you don't start there. You don't get there by reading about it. You get there by doing the reps. You get there by practicing. And it's like looking for a job. Everybody wants experience, but you can't get experience until somebody gives you your first job. So really, to start out, you have to act as if before you really feel ready. You may not feel confident yet. You don't have a history. Maybe you don't have a history of success yet. You don't feel smooth about it. All of that is fine. Start anyway. Start small, start where you are, set a goal. Maybe you need to start out so small that you decide, I'm going to say hello to one woman this week in the grocery store, wherever. Maybe you already do that, so you say, I'm going to try to get one phone number in the grocery store this week, or 3, whatever it is. But I'm telling you, if you will do a couple of these a week, if you never go out and talk to women, if you never say hello, and you just do it 1, 2, 3 times a week in a month, you will already feel different. You will already start to think, okay, maybe this isn't quite as hard as I built it up in my head. So maybe it's 1 for you, maybe it's 10, but pick a number and a goal that pushes you but doesn't overwhelm you, and then hold yourself to it. And remember that every conversation doesn't have to lead to something. And in fact, I would say act like you couldn't care less, because that's the goal. Every conversation gives you data. You learn how to start. You begin to learn how to read body language. You begin to learn how to see when it's clear that a woman doesn't want you to say hello or approach, and you save all of you the trouble, because that's part of this too, is learning when not to do it. There are too many women out there who would be happy to talk to you for you to have to change the mind of the ones who present that they do not want to talk to you. And also, don't be a jerk. If a woman tells you to piss off and leave her alone, even if she tells you that with a look, be a gentleman and do that thing. Do not pursue it. But once you start doing this and relaxing, you learn how to do it naturally, and you start to see a little bit of success, and eventually it starts to be fun, because that's true with anything. When you first start learning to do it, it can be frustrating and intimidating because you don't really know what you're doing. But once you start to see any success and even get a little bit better, it becomes a whole lot more enjoyable. So if you are one of those men who hates the idea of just walking up and cold approaching a strange woman, I get it. Most men feel that way. And this may never be your main way of meeting women, and that's okay. But what about if you see somebody out one day And you guys know what I'm talking about. It's not just the way a woman looks that when you see one that just takes your breath. It's also how, just like what women see in men, it's how she carries herself. It's if she's speaking, what does she sound like? How does she speak? Is she very elegant and naturally beautiful? And does she carry herself with grace and respect and well spoken? And you can tell she has some brain cells to rub together. I mean, I know women don't ever believe that we feel this way about, that we only care about what her face looks like, how good her hair looks, and how big her boobs are, and how nice her tush looks. But men who have a little bit of substance understand what I'm talking about. A really graceful woman is just a power, she's a force to be reckoned with. So let's say you usually date online, but you're out one day and you see a woman like that in wherever, Target, Home Depot, and let's say she gives you a little bit of a friendly smile. Wouldn't you love to know that, wow, I think that she is worth approaching? Wouldn't you love to know that you can do it? And even if she tells you, even if she's not interested and you misread it, you can walk away going, yeah, I shot my shot. Because I'm telling you, I like to challenge myself. I met a woman a couple of weeks ago who is so far out of my league in every way. I mean, and I don't say that lightly, because I've outpunched my weight many times in the dating world. But anyway, I just started kind of applying some things and acting in a certain way just to see if it worked. And I have no illusions that this woman is going to go out with me, but I sure got her to give me a goodbye hug. So anyway, but it's still fun to see how your interactions can kind of steer the conversations. But learning how to approach respectfully in public is a very valuable skill. It teaches you not to be afraid of women. It teaches you not to put women on a pedestal, how to handle discomfort, how to handle rejection. And listen, the only thing that works with the rejection is if you were out and you approach women, or you ask women on dates, or you swipe right often enough, you're going to get a lot of rejection. You have to get enough of that where it doesn't bother you. That is the only way to master this. And you will get some real dates. And when you get some dates with women you actually want to go out with, guess what? The ones that reject you, you don't worry about them as much anymore. So it teaches you how to move through the world with more confidence. So if you want to get better at this, don't overcomplicate it. Go get reps. Start small, start where you are, and detach your feelings from the outcome. Be respectful, pay attention, leave gracefully if she's not interested. Do not pester, do not annoy, do not get confrontational, do not push. That is what makes women scared of men, and rightfully so. Leave gracefully. And remember, the point is not to force something to happen in the beginning. The point is become the kind of man who is comfortable starting a conversation with a woman that he doesn't know, and he's mature enough to handle whatever happens next. That is the work. That is the goal. Thanks for listening.